With the release of Luigi's Mansion 2 Remaster, Luigi's Mansion is back in the light of popular games. Or at least it was. I played Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon back in 2023 and enjoyed it quite a bit. However, there were some gripes with the game that I still carry with me to this day. So, I was a little apprehensive on spending $60 for a game that I probably wasn't gonna enjoy. But then, when my dear friend, Erica, the GOAT, the one who gave me her King Kong game to play, reached out to watch me play the game on her Switch with her, I couldn't resist that offer. So, on a random day with Erica, I played through the entirety of Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on the Switch, and I'm gonna be honest here, it actually wasn't all that bad. Although I'm a bit sad the Dark Moon didn't make its return in the title. Fun fact, the original Dark Moon came out on March 20th, 2013, aka the year of Luigi! I didn't end up playing the game right away. I ended up playing it later on in 2017 for the first time when I got into my Luigi's Mansion craze. And when I played the game on my 3DS, well, okay, enough horsing around. I didn't like it one bit. I, for some reason, vividly remember slamming my 3DS down, ripping the game out of the system, and tossing it into the wall. I'm not even remotely kidding. But I picked it back up and beat it 100% wise, I think a year later. I never touched it since then, so when I heard that Nintendo was remastering this nightmare of a game, I was, a little apprehensive about the idea of it. The fact Nintendo was remastering arguably the worst Luigi's Mansion game was bonkers to me. But with Erica's convincing, I swallowed my shattered pride whole and faced the ghosts of my Luigi's Mansion past once more to determine, is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on the Switch worth the $60 price tag, or is it not? So, to give you a bit of background here, the first Luigi's Mansion game was released in 2001, and then, for whatever reason, this game series just went completely AWOL. Nothing was ever made about it for over a decade, and again, no games were made about it. There were no announcements, nothing. This game series was just left in the dust, and everyone thought it was just going to be a one-off. That is until the year of Luigi came around, and another entry was released. People ended up going buck wild over this, and it was a decent success that inspired the third installment of the series, Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Switch. The game begins with the view of a dark crystal moon, and then pans over to EGAD, who has basically hired Ghost to help maintain the lab. Or wherever this is. I think this is the mansion from the original game. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I genuinely have no idea. Anyway, the Ghost seemed pretty dang happy to help out. That and King Boo decided, you know what? Time to wreck this house party, and destroys the moon, shattering it into pieces. This causes absolute mayhem for EGAD, and he is forced to retreat from his lab, or wherever this is. And who does he call? That's right, everyone's favorite green plumber Ghostbuster, Luigi. The only difference here is that in Luigi's Mansion 1, Luigi just goes out of his own free will and does the deed to rescue Mario. Not here. EGAD just decides to kidnap Luigi through his own freaking television and his own house. I love that Nintendo was willing to lean into EGAD's crazy mad scientist side more in this game, but man, poor Luigi, he just wanted his nap. Give him a break, bro. Luigi is quite literally EGAD's lab rat in his ghost hunting experiments and insanity adventures. Now, Luigi's task this time is to travel across several mansions with his new Poltergust 5000, clear them out, and retrieve the moon pieces. We kinda need those. Now, there are a few changes to the Poltergust here, and they are the strobe bulb. You gotta use this handy little gizmo to stun those big bad ghosts and then start sucking them into the vacuum. There's also an added meter that once it fills all the way up, you can do a super suck and suck their health down to 0 and wham! Into the vacuum they go. I love how Nintendo took a different approach to catching ghosts than in the first game, and to be honest here, it's evolved pretty well. It's a little bit more difficult here, but but that just adds to the fun. Eventually, you will get the dark light, a light that helps you see things that ghosts have made invisible, like doors. You also have to deal with these annoying ass orbs to make sure they don't make the furniture go invisible again. But they're not too difficult, just suck them into the poltergeist and stay out of their way. This adds a new and a fun way to solve puzzles, but it also can make it a little bit more difficult. But again, like I said, it just adds to the fun. And staying true to its original Luigi's Mansion roots, the Game Boy Horror serves as your map once again, just like the original. I think it's cool how Nintendo made it a DS. Now, with all this fancy pants new gear, it's time to head off into the mansions. Now, one thing I will point out, and I'm 100% sure this was a me problem. I got lost stupidly easily. I have no idea why or even how I managed to accomplish this stupid feat, but I somehow did. And Erica was just looking at me like, how are you a gamer? Anyway, these mansions have many different themes. A very gloomy old mansion that looks like it jumped straight out of an old horror movie, an old clockwork tower, mansion, and some others, but you'll have to play the game to find out what they are if you haven't already. Now, in these mansions you have certain tasks, such as capturing ghosts, rescuing the toads, finding items, and sometimes having to deal with polterpup shenanigans. To be entirely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this mission structure stuff. The fact you go from mission to mission and mission to mission and from mansion to mansion and mansion to mansion, it didn't really flow too well for me. Also, some of these missions are absolutely ridiculously long. Long to the point where I was getting tired of the game and I was actually starting to yawn. I much prefer 1 and 3's freedom to explore, not having to go up a bunch of stairs and book it back to EGAD's lab after each mission. Now, before you decide to attack me in the comments section, I want to say this. Some of these missions are actually fine. They're fun. They're good to play. But some of them, oh boy, I wanted to curl up into a ball, rip my hair out, and cry with how long they were. But one of them, oh gosh. This is 100% a me problem, but one of them got close to actually breaking me. Once you complete all of the tasks in the secret mine, you now have to deal with the possessor ghost. And let me tell you this ghost really didn't make things easy on me. Because you have to shoot a certain part of the iceberg that it's possessing. This awful game of shoot the possessed iceberg lasted 30 whole minutes. It was sheer torture. I kept screwing up one way or another, then I'd have to do it again. Speaking of which, this game went weirdly out into left field compared to the other games' open world exploration. Well, sort of open world. You basically have to pick from a menu, and sure, there's exploration options once you're inside the mansion. It doesn't just feel like the original Luigi's Mansion or the third game where you could just meander around freely, and I had a bit of a problem with that. One thing about me that you might need to know here, I have a very hard time with keeping consistency. If I keep doing the same boring thing over and over and over again, I'm going to get bored. I need something new. I am 10,000% sure this is a me problem, like I said before. Now, I do want to discuss the visuals of this game. This game is, well, a remaster of a 3DS game, which made me a little bit concerned at first, purely because Nintendo 3DS games were meant to fit a low-resolution, minimal-budget screen. However, with Dark Moon, that was not really the case. It actually was looking pretty dang good for its era, and it did really well visually even back on the 3DS. Now, the HD version is actually really good. I'm not gonna deny it, it's actually really freaking beautiful. And it reminds me a bit of Skyward Sword HD Remake. Probably because it was done by the same company. But regardless, it looks really, really pretty. One thing I will heavily praise Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on is that it did the same thing as Luigi's Mansion 3. It goes for beautiful graphics over insane frame rates. However, that's kind of a given when playing a game that had HD in the title. However, from a technical standpoint, the graphics in this game were no match for Luigi's Mansion 3, although it still has some amazing touch-ups. like EGAD's head being smoothed out, the clouds not being, well, polygony. The polygon count being a lot better as well. The textures and lighting were also fixed, evident in the scene where we see Luigi chilling in his armchair taking a nap. I really gotta give kudos to the graphics team for literally recreating the game. Sure, they used the original as a base of what to go off of, but it's still pretty awesome to see the 3DS's game graphics jump up to Nintendo Switch quality. One of my favorites being the keyhole animation when it's in the door. Now, here's my final verdict. I like this game, but I'm not the biggest fan of this game. I'm more so just fine? I think fine is the right word. I'm more so just fine with its existence. I would much rather have this game be like Luigi's Mansion 1 and 3, where you can have more open world exploration instead of the mission system. It just feels too crammed and too foreign? I don't know. It just doesn't really feel like a Luigi's Mansion game. It feels like a constant game of hot potato. You do one task, you move on to the other. You do that task, you moved on to the other. Solve a few puzzles here and there, then boom, you're done with the area. That didn't feel too fun to play, to be honest. I did have a few issues with Polterpup, but then again, it's Luigi's Mansion 2. Of course you're gonna have issues with Polterpup. It's kind of a given. Anyway, once I 100%ed the game, I gave Erica her Switch back, and that was the end of that. I haven't touched it since. Overall though, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD for the Switch has beautiful graphics and beautiful cutscenes, and the ending was actually a lot of fun, but again, no spoilers. But overall though, the game feels as rich as it did back on the 3DS, and I personally wouldn't touch it again. Would I say it's a bad game? Hell no! Would I say it's the best Switch game ever? Again, hell no! But to me, it's a fine game. I personally wouldn't play it again for all the money in the world though. It's just a bit frustrating and could use some tweaks before being released. But hey, then again, that's my opinion. I hope my opinion doesn't influence you whether or not to buy this game. If you want to spend $60 on Luigi's Mansion HD, go right ahead. I'm not gonna stop you. Hello, amazing people! I really hope you don't mind how I sound in this video. Fun fact, this video is actually being re-recorded, and I have a little bit of just a scratchy throat. I don't know what's going on, but I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. Anyway, I'm really happy to be back on schedule with uploading and stuff. Things got a little bit crazy, and I ended up missing the deadline. Anyway, this video is being uploaded on the normal schedule space. But yeah, the next video will be in 2 weeks. Anyway, huge thank you to Eros X for drawing this amazing thumbnail art. I mean, look at that. It's actually really freaking good. I love it. And huge thank you to Erica for lending me the game. Honestly, Erica, you didn't have to do that. I could have just went out and bought it myself, but hey, you're the GOAT. You're awesome. Thank you. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!